everyone, welcome to the April 27th edition of FanDuel Tournament Plays presented by PrizePicks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, you get 1 free month of Awesemo plus Platinum. When you sign up and make a deposit at PrizePicks, be sure to use the code Awesemo to receive a 100% first deposit bonus up to $100. We have an 8-game MLB slate tonight. And as always, we're going to take a look at 3 of the top tournament stacks, 3 of the top tournament pitchers, using the top stacks tool and the top pitchers tool on Awesemo.com. Starting with the top stacks, number 3, the Baltimore Orioles are projected for 1% aggregate ownership. They have a 4% chance of being the top scoring stack. They have a difficult matchup tonight against Jordan Montgomery in Yankee Stadium. Montgomery is a solid pitcher for New York. 4.34 xFIP this season is a bit elevated, only an 18.3% strikeout percentage as well. But in previous seasons, we've certainly seen Montgomery have plenty of success. Baltimore also only has a 3 implied run total, but there is some power in their lineup, and also they're not all that expensive. You have Cedric Mullins at the top in the lefty-lefty matchup, but Trey Mancini has power, Santander, Mountcastle, Hayes. These guys all have power. Jorge Mateo is off to a solid start this year as well. So given the lack of ownership, they do look like a pretty solid contrarian stack to get to. Number 2, the San Francisco Giants, 3% projected ownership, 6% chance of being the top scoring stack. They face one of the bigger question marks in the league so far this year in Paul Blackburn. Blackburn is someone that's been around for a while, and he's never really stuck in the majors. He's never been a very good strikeout guy. He's always been a good ground ball pitcher. But so far this year, a 25.5% strikeout percentage for Blackburn, only a 2.1 xFIP. Certainly could just be an improved pitcher and be a very difficult spot for the Giants. But the Giants do have a 109 WRC plus so far this season. They do have some quality bats in their lineup, and they're not getting much ownership here. So I don't mind taking some shots at them and, hoping that you get some Paul Blackburn regression. And number 1, the Miami Marlins, 5% projected ownership, 6% chance of being the top scoring stack. They are taking on Eric Fedde. They have a 4 implied run total. Fedde's been solid this year, 3.37 xFIP. He has struck out about 22.5% of hitters, but Miami does have a 112 WRC plus. They get out of the indoors. They're playing outside in Washington tonight. And they're just an offense that has been pretty good so far this year. You get Jazz Chisholm at the top of the lineup, promising young hitter for Miami. And then the middle of the order is not bad either with Jesus Aguilar, Soler, Sanchez, Garcia. It's a decent lineup. And so far they have been pretty productive this year, not getting much ownership against a pitcher that has a track record of not being bad, but kind of just being an average starter. I like getting to Miami at relatively low ownership. Now, looking at the top 3 tournament pitchers, number 3, Michael Wacha, $8,000 price tag, difficult matchup against Toronto, but he's only projected for 1% ownership. He has a 6% chance of being the top scoring pitcher. This is not a spot that I have a lot of confidence in. It's not a spot you should have a lot of confidence in, but he's just not getting much ownership, and he's projected to be a bit under-owned here. Toronto has been good offensively this year with a 113 WRC+. They do have a pretty healthy 23% strikeout percentage, however, and Wacha has struck out 21.4% of hitters so far this season. So not great strikeout stuff for Wacha, but the matchup could help a bit. Number 2, Eric Fedde taking on that Miami team. Mentioned Miami going under-owned, Fedde also going under-owned, only projected for 3% ownership with an 8% chance of being the top scoring pitcher. He's $7,300. And while Miami has been an above average offense with a 112 WRC plus, they've also struck out 25.3% of the time this season. That sets up nicely for Fedde and certainly gives him some upside. And number 1, on the other side of that game, Pablo Lopez, $10,400 price tag. He's projected for 4% ownership. He has a 9% chance of being the top scoring pitcher. He is taking on a Nats offense that is weak. They have an 80 WRC plus so far this season. I expect them to be weak for the foreseeable future. You have one of the best hitters in baseball in Juan Soto. You have quality hitters in Josh Bell and Nelson Cruz. And after that, you have a bunch of guys that don't seem to belong in the major leagues. So I don't expect Washington's offense to bounce back anytime soon. I like taking pitchers against them. The only negative is they have only struck out 21.1% of the time this season, but Lopez comes into this game with a 26.6% strikeout percentage and an excellent 2.68 xFIP so far this year. So to recap, the top 3 tournament stacks on FanDuel: number 3, the Baltimore Orioles; number 2, San Francisco Giants; number 1, the Miami Marlins; and the top 3 tournament pitchers: number 3, Michael Wacha; number 2, Eric Fedde; and number 1, Pablo Lopez.